the largest remaining stronghold of fugitive leader Muammar Gaddafi as rebel forces advance there. NPR's Jason Bobian reports Libya's capital is eerily quiet today.
Most Libyans in and around the capital are staying indoors. Streets in the nearby city of Zawiya are deserted. All of the buildings around Zawiya's main square are burned out, bombed in, or topped with bullet marks. In some neighborhoods of Tripoli, there are more roadblocks on the streets than people. Bags of garbage are piling up on the curbs. Smoke and trash fires blast around dumpsters. Most shops remain shut. Food and fuel are in short supply. And the city's water has been off for almost a week. Away from the fighting, rebels in pickup trucks, some with anti-aircraft guns mounted on the back, race through the streets, waving their tricolor flag and shooting in celebration. Jason Bobian, NPR News, Tripoli.
Japan's Prime Minister Naoto Kan has announced his resignation, setting the stage for a new leadership election there. NPR's Louisa Lind reports.
"I did my best under difficult circumstances," was Naoto Kan's plaintive message as he announced his resignation as leader of the Democratic Party of Japan. The move has been long awaited. Kan had vowed to step down once three key pieces of legislation, including the budget, were passed by Parliament. That happened today. Naoto Kan's been in power for 15 months. During this time, he's seen his ratings plummet. He's been heavily criticized for his inept response to the earthquake, tsunami, and nuclear crisis that has embroiled Japan. The party will elect a new leader on Monday, who will almost certainly take over as Prime Minister.
Checking Wall Street again, the Dow now down 179 points. I'm Greg Wyndham, NPR News.
This is OPD News. I'm Casey McGriff. A lightning storm raped central Oregon Wednesday and started nearly 200 range fires. One of those has grown into a complex of 5 fires that have burned more than 15,000 acres and forced the evacuation of a science camp for kids. About 55 children and a dozen staff members had to leave the Hancock Field Station outside Fossil Wednesday night. Oregon Museum of Science and Industry spokeswoman Andrea Middleton says the camp staff was prepared for a situation like this. They took the kids to a campground outside Fossil where they spent the night in tents. After spending the day at the John Day Fossil Beds, the plan then called for them to camp overnight at another campground and then return to Hancock today. The Central Oregon Interagency Dispatch Center says fire crews concentrated on the area around the field station yesterday, and it is no longer considered threatened. A 24-year-old Oregon man has been arraigned on hate crime charges for allegedly setting fire to a Corvallis mosque last November. Cody Seth Crawford was taken into custody without incident on Wednesday night. No one was injured in the fire, which damaged an office at the Salman Al-Farisi Islamic Center. FBI Special Agent in Charge Greg Fowler says the man charged in the case does not reflect the values of the people of Corvallis.
This community and those sworn to protect them will not tolerate such acts or tire their efforts to keep us safe from those who would further their own goals through violence and intimidation.
If he's convicted, Crawford would face at least 10 years in prison. The arson happened just days after federal agents arrested a former Corvallis resident for allegedly plotting to set off a bomb in Portland's Pioneer Courthouse Square. Mohammed Osman Mohamud occasionally worshipped at the Corvallis Mosque, but leaders there denounced his alleged crimes. Oregon Senator Jeff Merkley isn't optimistic about the future of government in Afghanistan. After his second visit to the country in 18 months, he says the 3 reasons for the U.S. going to war have been satisfied: taking the Taliban out of power, shutting down al-Qaeda training camps, and pursuing those responsible for 9/11.
We accomplished those missions. Now we are on a vast nation-building mission, and every aspect of that nation-building mission is problematic.
Merkley says he favors the accelerated withdrawal of troops that President Obama has called for, and he says he's worried that only about 16% of Afghan police are literate and that corruption is endemic in that country. Prosecutors in a federal hate crime case in Spokane are asking prospective jurors if they have ties to racist and militia groups. The man accused of planting a backpack bomb along Spokane's Martin Luther King Day parade route in January has been linked to white supremacists. Jessica Robinson has more.
Kevin Harpo's name shows up in connection with more than 1,000 posts made to a neo-Nazi web forum, and the Southern Poverty Law Center says he was once a member of the racist group, the National Alliance. This week, federal prosecutors filed their questions for jurors in his trial. The list includes questions about affiliations and sympathies with militia groups and organizations that restrict membership on the basis of race. Potential jurors are also asked if they've ever had a bad experience with a person of another race that could affect their judgment. And they're asked to disclose whether they or any close friend or family member has been associated with the Ku Klux Klan, the Aryan Nation, the Skinheads, or the American Nazi Party. However, prosecutors also want to know about ties to other organizations, including the Jewish Defense League and the Nation of Islam. Harpum's trial was delayed to avoid this week's dedication of the Martin Luther King Memorial in Washington, D.C. The court case is now set to start September 12th. I'm Jessica Robinson, reporting.
It's 7:10 now, and you're listening to news.